One last thing that we're missing from the front of our flyer is the logo. We'll create this object outside the page and then place it on the flyer. Switch to Rectangle tool and draw a rectangle. Make it really slim. As you can see, the width of this rectangle is much longer than its height. Go to the control bar, deactivate the ratio lock and change the width of this figure to 7 mm. Duplicate this figure. Click on the copy again to activate the rotation points. Hold Ctrl and rotate this figure 90 degrees. Now make this rectangle height smaller. Select the original rectangle and then convert it to curves. To do that, click on the last icon on the control bar or go to Arrange menu and click on Convert to Curves. We'll now add more nodes to this figure. To do that, press the plus key or go to the control bar and click Add Nodes icon. Switch to the Pick tool and click on a side to deselect all figures. Go to the control bar and change the nudge distance to 1 mm. This value regulates the distance for which the nodes of the figure will be moved when we use the arrow key. Switch to the Shape tool. Now select the top middle nodes and press the down arrow key 3 times. Now select all the nodes and then go to the control bar and click on Convert to Curve icon. We don't want to destroy the proportions of this figure. To prevent this from happening, we need to convert one of these nodes. Go to View menu and click on Wireframe. Select the top middle node and convert it to a symmetrical node. As you remember, we set the nudge distance to 1 mm. We'll now use the arrow keys to move the direction line handles. Click on the left direction line handle once and move the up arrow key. Now, click on the top right node, then on the direction line handle and press the up arrow key once. We've now modified the figure, and at the same time the figure is still proportional. Select the second rectangle and make it overlap the first figure. Activate the Align and Distribute docker. Now, align both figures vertically. Close the Align and Distribute docker. Select this rectangle and convert it to curves. To do that, press Ctrl and Q or go to the Arrange menu and click on Convert to Curves. Select the bottom left node. To do that, click on it or draw a selection box that includes it. Now, press the left arrow key once. Select the bottom right node. Press the left arrow key to move the selected node. Another way to gain the same effect is to use the Scale and Stretch Nodes option. Select both bottom nodes, go to the control bar and click on the Scale and Stretch Nodes icon. Hold Shift and one of the middle transformation points. Remember that when we use this option, we need to select at least 2 nodes. Let's revise the second technique. Select the 2 bottom nodes, go to the control bar and click on Scale and Stretch Nodes icon. Hold Shift and drag the middle transformation point. When we hold Shift, the center point of the figure won't move during the rescaling. Select all nodes, go to the control bar and click on Convert to Curve icon. Select the top 2 nodes and convert them to symmetrical nodes. We'll now modify the left and the right line segments. Hold Shift and drag the bottom direction line handle that comes from the left node. Do the same thing with the one on the other side. Let's now make this arch at the top of the figure slightly smaller. Select the left node, click on the top direction line handle and press the down arrow key twice. Select the other node on the other side, click on the top direction line handle and then press the down arrow key twice. Select both the top nodes, go to the control bar and click on Scale and Stretch Nodes icon. Drag one of the middle nodes, hold Shift and move it slightly to make the figure width bigger. Now switch to the Ellipse tool. Well, before we do that, let's weld these figures together. Switch to Pick tool, select both figures and duplicate them. Move the copy away. It will serve as backup. Select the original pair of figures and then weld them. Switch to the Ellipse tool, hold Ctrl and draw a small circle. We now need to place this circle at the center of the bottom figure. As you can see, we've welded these 2 initial figures too soon. Move this welded figure up. Select the backup figures and duplicate them. Move these 2 figures down. Select the circle and then try to place it at the center of the bottom figure. Hold Shift and downscale the circle a little. We'll now align the circle with the bottom of the rectangle figure. Select the circle, hold Shift and add the bottom rectangle figure to the selection. This way the rectangle won't move during the alignment process. Go to Align and Distribute Docker and click on Align Bottom and Align Center icons. Now, weld these two figures. Only now we can select the whole element and weld it. Well, before we do this, let's make a backup copy. Press Ctrl Z. Select all three objects and duplicate them. You can now weld these objects together. Select all three elements, go to the control bar and click on Weld icon. Close the Align and Distribute Docker. The first element of the logo is now ready. As you remember, we're still working in wireframe view mode. We'll create the next element with the Bezier tool. Then we'll convert this outline into a separate object. But first things first, switch to the Bezier tool, create the first line. As you remember, we can also bend line segments with the Bezier tool. It all depends on what we need. Click on the left, hold your mouse button and move the cursor down. Release the mouse button. As you can see, we've just created a curved line segment. Click down here, hold the mouse button and move the cursor and release the mouse button once the line segment looks like this. Now switch to the Shape tool. Select this line segment and correct it if you want to. Select all the nodes, go to the control bar and click on Convert to Curve icon. Select the top right node and convert it to a symmetrical node. Well, the figure's almost ready. Let's move some of these nodes to make it look even smoother. We now need to create a circle. Switch to the Ellipse tool. Draw a simple circle. Well, let's leave it like this. We'll now deal with something else. Duplicate this figure and place the copied one on the other side of the main object. Go to View menu and click on Normal. We switch to Normal View because now we'll deal with outlines. Select the first curved figure, go to the control bar and change its outline width to 2.5mm. Well, let's try to set it to 3mm. Well, the first choice was best. Set it back to 2.5. Go to View menu and click on Wireframe. Now go to Arrange menu and click on Convert Outline to Object. The outline of this figure is now a normal object. We've also copied this figure, so in case we just need a backup, we'll just use this one. We'll now weld this outline figure with the circle we've made previously. Place this circle at the end of the outline figure. Make sure that both figures overlap. Switch to Shape tool. Make the width of this line slightly smaller. Make the width look like this, and it was smoothly transforming into the circle. Switch to the Pick tool. Select the circle, hold Shift and add the curved figure to selection, and go to the control bar and click on Weld icon. Switch to the Shape tool. Let's select also this node. Well, the bottom of this figure is now ready. Zoom out. We'll now correct the rest of the figure. Move several nodes or line segments to make the figure look smoother. Let's delete this middle node. Use the direction lines to make the beginning of this figure slimmer. Be careful not to overdo it. We don't want it to look too weird and unnatural. Use the direction lines to change the look on the other side of the figure. Delete some nodes if the line looks too jittery. Move the direction line of this node. Let's delete the node placed on the top of this arch. Well, that wasn't such a good decision. Press Ctrl Z and delete this node. Select these two nodes and move them down. Now we'll align these two nodes. Select them, go to the control bar, click on the node Align icon. Select only Align Horizontal option and click OK. How the figure will look depends on what we have in mind. We just need to keep editing its path until we decide that it finally looks good. Let's add two nodes here. We can now delete the pair placed above them. The figure now looks much smoother. Press F3 to zoom out. This element's now ready. Switch to the Pick tool and move the backup path to the side. We now need to mirror this figure and place it on the other side of the base figure. It may sound easy, but it's not. But don't worry, we'll find a way to make it easier. We'll cut the base figure in half and then mirror it. So where is the middle of the figure? Switch to the Pick tool and select the base figure. As you can see, at the bottom of this object we have a node placed exactly in the middle. We can use this node to snap the cutting figure to it. Switch to Rectangle tool and draw a big rectangle. Go to the View menu, then Snap to and activate the Snap to Objects option. Switch to Pick tool. As you can see, the same actions are difficult, but we can find an easier way to activate the same effect. Select the rectangle and move your cursor over its bottom left node. Drag it by its node and place it directly over the middle node of the base figure. So now the left edge of this rectangle is placed directly in the middle of the base figure. Select the rectangle, hold Shift and add the base figure to selection. Go to the control bar and click on Trim. Delete the cut in rectangle. Now, select these two figures. Go to the control bar and click on Weld icon. Press the plus key on the numeric keyboard to duplicate the selected figures. Hold Ctrl and drag the left middle transformation point to the right. Select all figures and then weld them. Well, we're not using it very much in our course, but if you want, you can also use the grid to do such things. The logo is now ready. Go to View menu and click on Normal. Select the logo and change its fill color to red. Set the outline of the logo to none. Press Shift and F4 to fit the page on the screen. Now, move the logo into the flyer. Well, before we do that, let's talk about one more thing. Select all these backup elements and move them up. This way, they won't get in our way. And zoom in on the logo. We can now use the Contour tool on this object. Switch to Contour tool, change the contour steps to 2, then back to 1. Change the contour placement to outside and set the contour offset to 1 mm. We now need to separate the contour from this figure. Switch to the Pick tool and select this object. Go to Arrange menu and click on Break Contour Group Apart. Click on the side to deselect all figures. We only had one contour step, so we don't need to ungroup these objects. Select only the yellow figure created from the contour, change its fill color to white and set its outline color to black. So now we have two figures that look like this. Select both objects, go to Arrange menu and click on Group. Remember that in this particular case we can only group these figures. Combining or welding them would alter this end result. Let's create a simple text. Switch to Text tool and click once to start creating the artistic text. Write Arco Hotel and switch to Pick tool. Make the font bold and change the font type to Arial Black. Go to Arrange menu and click on Break Artistic Text. The text will split into two separate words. Select both words, go to Arrange menu and click on Break Text Apart. Well, this option isn't active. This tells us that we need to do one word at a time. Select the first word, go to Arrange menu and click on Break Artistic Text Apart. Do the same thing with the second word. Every letter is now separate. Zoom in. Select the R letter and move it to the left with the arrow key. Make the spacing between the letters smaller by moving each one separately. So we're just using the arrow keys to move these letters. Just select a letter and move it by pressing the left arrow key. Let's edit the T letter. Select it, switch to Shape tool, go to Arrange menu and click on Convert to Curves. Zoom in on it. Select these two nodes on the left. Move these nodes by pressing the left arrow key. Make this element overlap with the O letter. Select the nodes on the other side and move them to the right. Let's try to move the E letter. Well, it doesn't look that good. Switch to Shape tool, select only the one node in the letter T. Hold Ctrl and move it to the right. Switch to the Pick tool and select the whole hotel word. Go to Control Bar and click on the Weld icon. Let's now work on some more on the Arco word. Select the letter C and then move it to the left. Now select the O letter and downscale it. We need to align these letters. Select the whole word Arco. Instead of activating the whole docker, we can just use the Align and Distribute submenu available in the Arrange menu. We can also use the keyboard shortcut. Well, let's activate the whole Align and Distribute docker again. Align the selected elements down. Let's now upscale the O letter a little bit. Make sure that you drag the top right transformation point. This way we won't have to align this letter again. Select the C letter and downscale it. Now select the whole Arco word, go to Align and Distribute docker and align letters down. Well, there seems to be a little problem. We can easily overcome it by converting these letters to curves. Select all letters, go to Arrange menu and click on Convert to Curves. Well, let's downscale the O letter and move it to the left. Let's downscale the C letter as well. Select the whole word Arco. Go to Align and Distribute palette and align the selected elements down. Now modify the R letter. Go to View menu and click on Wireframe. Switch to Shape tool and move these two nodes. Let's also delete the node placed on the top of the arch. Let's also delete this node. This way the path will become much smoother. Delete the middle bottom node as well. Move these two nodes on the right. Zoom out. Now switch to the Pick tool and select the whole word Arco. Go to Control Bar and click on the Weld icon. Go to View menu and click on Normal. Press F3 to zoom out. Select the hotel text and downscale it. Let's make its width similar to the width of the letter C in the word Arco. Move the hotel word away from the last letter in Arco. Select both words, go to Align and Distribute docker and align them down. Go to the Control Bar and click on Weld icon. Close the Align Distribute docker. Select the text and change its fill color to red. Now switch to the Contour tool, go to the Control Bar and change the contour steps to 2 and back to 1. Change the contour placement to outside. For the logo we set the contour offset to 1 mm. It's too much for this text, so let's change the contour offset to 0.75 mm and press enter. Now press F3 to zoom out. Switch to the Pick tool and upscale the text. Try to make it as long as the logo. If you want, you can just move the text over the logo and then change its width. We'll now separate the contour from this text. Well, before we do that, let's change the contour offset back to 1 mm. The contour of the text now has the same as the contour of the logo. Select the text, go to Arrange menu and click on Break Contour Group Apart. Click on the side to deselect all figures. Select only the yellow figure and change its outline color to black. Now change the fill color of this figure to white. Press F3 to zoom out. Select both these elements, go to Arrange menu and click on Group. The logo is now ready. Let's downscale it a little. Well, there's one more problem. Press Ctrl Z to make the logo go back to its initial size. Change the size of the outline of this logo. Go to Outline Pen tool and click on Outline Pen. Change the width of the outline to 0.1 mm and activate the Scale with Object option. This way the outline will scale along with the logo. Click OK to accept the changes. Downscale the logo and place it in the top right corner of the flyer. Let's make it slightly bigger. As you can see, the outline changes size along with the object. Remember that when we make projects for printing, we shouldn't use the outline smaller than 0.1 mm. Let's upscale the logo a little bit more. The logo is now ready. Press Shift and F4 to fit the page on the screen. Remember that when we zoom out, the outline may look too thick. Don't worry, it's just the way the computer handles the screening of such small objects. If you want, you can change the outline again. Just select the logo, go to Outline Pen Tool menu, and click on Outline Pen. As you can see, the outline was scaled to 0.75 mm. Let's change the outline to 0.1 mm. Deactivate the Scale with Object option and click OK. Press Shift and F4 to fit the page on the screen, and then Ctrl S to save the document.